Hi, good morning.
Hello, morning.
Is there someone in the forces to speak to who's dealing with local residents and things like that?
At the moment,
No.
not that we're aware of, no.
No? Okay.
You're getting another one.
I think that's Jensen's fault.
Going to say I've got one in the back of mine.
Yeah, it's all closed
I
off
know,
at the moment.
One in the back of mine.
Yeah,
So,
I think last night as well, and
yeah.
Jensen's as well there.
Nice
Well,
and bright.
could be open tomorrow, we don't know yet.
Yeah,
Clearly not.
no.
So is there someone who can get updates from, who can advise whether they're going to be closed all day, part of the day?
It's just an ongoing investigation, so at the moment no one can give you a time frame on that.
And it'll be what it is.
Apologies, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Give everyone an extra day off.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Which function are you at? Unfortunately, everyone's vacated the property. We can't have anyone return at the moment. Just ask them to stand by.
Just to warn you that they've asked me to be on standby for live at 7:30 in case the Prime Secretary's running late.
Yeah, but you've seen I know it's been right. Oh, you're going in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just look at it.
Go. Thank you so much.
Please well.
Thank you.
Possibly 7:30.
You're thinking which night? I'm just thinking David going on to. You can put it on channel 1. Put that on channel 1 and do it. Yeah. If you go, I don't know how long we've got. How long looks like.
Yeah, we took over all parts and out of it.
If they're coming to us now, we should be fine. But
We're on standby.
you're on standby, just leave it then. It'll be fine. I mean, yeah, right. It's not that bad, is it?
Just in case all that.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, thank you. They were moaning before. Like,
What time are you on?
After this guest, so you could have heard another report in that time. I'm like, well, that's like,
It is about 200.
yeah. There you go. Absolutely, Ellie, as you would expect, the people here in Crux woke up yesterday to Yom Kippur, expecting perhaps, if they're members of the Jewish faith, to go to their local synagogue, the Heaton Park synagogue, to worship and to mark that incredibly important day in the Jewish calendar. Instead, they woke to the news of a terrorist attack on their doorstep. And in response to that, Greater Manchester Police have announced this morning that there will be an increased police presence across the boroughs throughout this weekend. Earlier, City of Manchester District Commander Chief Superintendent David Meany said we have taken this action to ensure that our Jewish communities and wider communities within Greater Manchester feel safe and reassured following yesterday's tragic incident in Crux. People in North Manchester, Bury, Salford, within Jewish communities and around synagogues can expect to see uniformed officers on patrol, in vehicles and on foot throughout today, into this evening and over the weekend. They are there to reassure you, and whilst they may not be able to answer questions about the investigation, they will be happy to assure you that the actions we are taking to ensure communities are safe and feel safe. Now, of course, safety is incredibly important, especially given those pro-Palestine protests that took place yesterday in the wake of this terrorist incident here in Crux. Earlier on GB News Breakfast, we spoke with the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, and this is her response to those pro-Palestine protests yesterday. I can do if you need me to.
Two seconds.
And that's because, of course, the Jewish community, both here around Greater Manchester and, of course, around the UK, will have been rocked by that attack yesterday. We know, of course, that yesterday the Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that there would be increased security at all synagogues around the UK, and that I'm sure will continue throughout the weekend now, just to ensure
Yes, you can come to
that
me if
all
you
of
need
the
to.
Jewish faith will feel safer at what is clearly a terrifying time. Thanks, love.
Hello, welcome back to Breakfast. Our top story here on Sky News this morning. Police in Manchester have named the two men killed in yesterday's deadly terror attack on a synagogue here in Crux. 53-year-old Adrian Dolby and 66-year-old Melvin Crux. Formal identification is yet to take place, but their families have been informed. Meanwhile, the attacker has been named as Jihad al-Shamie, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. He drove into worshippers before stabbing a man. He was then shot dead by police. 3 people are still in hospital with serious injuries, one suffering a stab wound, another hit by the car driven by the attacker, the other suffering an injury which may have been sustained while officers are trying to stop the attacker. Addressing pro-Palestinian protests, which took place last night, the Home Secretary told this programme she was deeply disappointed to see them go ahead, saying it was deeply un-British behaviour. The Home Secretary also saying any protester who steps outside the law will feel its full force. Well, let's take a closer look now at how yesterday's attack unfolded. The first emergency call was made at 9:31 a.m. Police were told a man had been stabbed and a car driven towards members of the public at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation synagogue here in Crux. Just 3 minutes later, firearms officers were deployed to Middleton Road, police receiving further reports that a security guard had been attacked with a knife. When police arrived, there was a car close to the front gates of the synagogue with a victim also lying on the floor. At 9:38, at the front of the building, officers confronted the attacker before opening fire and killing him. Hours later, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a police cordon was put up on White House Avenue, less than a half a mile from the synagogue. Witnesses say 2 men in handcuffs were then led away by police. Many members of the Jewish community here in Manchester were completely unaware of yesterday's attack until after dark, when they left their synagogues to break their fast after Yom Kippur. Okay, do you want me to do the Shingi's here if you want me to talk to him? Yeah. What's 2 minutes? Oh, he's 2 minutes away. 2 minutes. Yes. Oh, hand it back. Okay. Well, this community here in Crux still very much in shock this morning. The police investigation is continuing at pace. We have had more details of the victims today, as I just brought you a little earlier, and we wait for updates on the police investigation as well, with a number of arrests having been made yesterday. But with that, I'll hand back to Anna in the studio. Don't worry, they'll come back.
Don't go back to my car, man. Now's the time.
Shingy is here, sorry. So, I don't know, what's the time? Sorry, our guest just didn't arrive, so... Yeah.
Still.
The cloth's wet.
Yeah, sure.
They're not a bad risk, it's obviously talking to people. And but how much
Oh, was it raining yesterday?
Oh, back.
We've got to do about our house, just dry clothes.
You teased me. Sorry. True. Got it in
Alright, it's okay, thank you. I'm like, the squiggle lining here. You're going to be a rich man with the end of this trip?
Trade usually isn't constructive.
That's still clear of your shot, isn't it? Yeah?
on the sat nav. Yeah, we went on the sat nav. So you just had no clue. I was like trying to direct it, and I just like that. Mix the socks before, like, just like that.
Let me drive your car. Let me drive your taxi. Come with a hug.
Yeah. Okay.
My blood pressure is on. Just thinking about it.
And then we just mixed that in, and I was like, oh, this is your left hand. He's like, oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, that I
If you have to go off and my only other guess.
Okay, I'll leave it here then. When I
With the amount of PTSD
my car's like 3 minutes away.
Where are they?
Yeah. But that's useful to know. Right, I'll turn it off.
Right, so it's going for this.
Oh yeah, you okay? Standing still gets me. My back was so sore yesterday just from standing like that for 5 hours or whatever. Just keep moving so. Huh?
So the red.
Yeah. No, oh god, yeah. Like that freeze that's set into the bottom of my spine as well. Oh yeah, Melvin.
Do we know who it is?
Melvin.
Thank you.
Melvin Kravitz, yeah, is it still?
Are you in this? I am indeed. The mic is on. I turned it off for like 5 seconds.
It was temperamental to the point where I've now got 40% battery this morning. So every time I move the lead, it would stop. So I put it to bed last night, just went. And it's obviously in the night, just gone again. So.
This hotel sounds great.
Oh well, no, it was the cordon last night was like flapping around, and then the light just kept hitting me on the head, and I was like, so I got my phone charger and just put it there, so it was there, thinking I was being clever, and then of course the rain came down and the charger just absolutely soaked. I was like, how am I going to charge my phone? It was just like in the light, it was like that.
This is the thing. You're out in the elements, right?
I know. I can't legislate for it.
And Manchester rain is special rain that comes horizontally.
Yeah. And I was like, can we just move back from the cordon ever so slightly, just so I'm not hit by it? But of course, everything's there, and I'd have been like that.
On top of the camera.
Yeah. Nobody needs.
No.
I've got, I'm currently in Norway and everything it's for, I think I have a few things channel that we're live
Okay. Good still. So I'll just say we've got the first image of one of the victims in here, rather than me saying all the weekend. It's alright. Having this discussion with Greg last night.
Yeah, it's hard because like some of this you kind of add to some of it like conversation.
Yeah.
Give me more.
With more authority. Right, so Jane, I can confirm what you've just said.
Basically.
So in my head of my mountain back to 25 TV, is that Cool. All right. Let's go live and check what we're seeing here.
I'll ring the cat who's on the desk today. I'll ring him after this next bit. When he's got like an hour to get settled and I'll find out what's going on with the
Really cool. I was just going to say, I'm just going to have your call another minute or so, and we'll probably go like the record so that's it.
Hello and welcome back to Crux in Manchester. We're following events after yesterday's terrorism incident at the mosque here, Heaton Park Synagogue, in which two members of the Jewish community lost their lives. And we have been getting details of the two men that were killed outside that synagogue, and alongside our north of England correspondent Shingi Mararike. We have the names of the two men that were killed in that attack, and now we have a picture of one of them, Shingi.
Yeah, that's right. We've got the first picture of Melvin Kravitz, the older of the two victims, a 66-year-old, first picture released. And we also know the other victim was Adrian Georgie, who was 53. And they're both from the Consul area, so you get a sense of how closely knit the Jewish community is here. And they both maybe would have been known to each other, but that's still now being released off the back of the police through more information saying post-mortems will come done by the Home Office this morning, and also that their families are aware and liaison officers are working with them and supporting them as well.
Yeah, we don't have much more details about the two members of the Jewish community, but the thought, understandably, is that on the holiest day for those coming into that synagogue,
Is it recording now?
coming in to worship,
Okay,
or
just
they may
when it's
be
recording, let
involved
us
in
know
the
and I'll let them
security
know.
element of the synagogue, because of course, a lot of volunteers from the local community provide that protection for Jewish schools and synagogues.
Yeah, that's right. And in his statement yesterday, so Stephen Watson, the Chief Constable for Manchester Police, reflecting on how some of those people helped stop the assailant getting into the building.
Save lives.
Save lives, and as you say, this is unfortunately a fact of life for the Jewish community. As they go to schools, as they go to their places of worship, that they have to put in place security, and that also the police have to ramp up security as well. We know that Greater Manchester Police now will be on patrol more so in the areas of Manchester where there is a bigger Jewish population.
No, it doesn't matter if
Trying
it's
to reassure them that he's
I'm
out
just saying,
and amongst them.
Yeah, that's what people in Greater Manchester can expect to be, and in other parts of the UK as well, that heightened police presence on the streets where Jewish communities live. And outside synagogues as well, because of course today, that, again, another day for the Jewish community to mark, feeling particularly vulnerable, but those that we've spoken to here on Sky News since this attack at the synagogue in Crux happened has been one of hope and solidarity. We'll be reflecting the thoughts of the community here in Council throughout the morning here on Sky News, as well as keeping you up to date with the police investigation here on this station. That was such a thing yesterday, I said it again. Such a thing yesterday, because everyone was saying it, and we were like, don't say it, now it's in my head. Right. What are you gathering with me today as well, or?
I'm fit. The only thing I need
friendly,
to do, close friendly and close safety, but the only thing I need to do is try and but I'm not going anywhere.
Fine. Okay.
As far as I know.
So you're around your road. Sorry, we're taking this up to the end of the hour, yeah? Fine.
Cool. Alright, lock there starting in 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Well, it's wet. It was absolutely sodden for most of it.
We've just
They
done
just
it.
did.
What it? Oh, is it Stuart?
Yeah, it's Stu, yeah. Right hand, upper right hand side. Your right, our right?
That side. That one.
No, our right.
That one.
Yeah.
The auto cue got wet last night, so
Yeah.
it's steaming.
I think we all were like that last time, weren't we?
There's another one in there. Try and put that in the swap them.
Well, maybe you should
Yeah. Can we scroll up, please? You're watching Sky News Breakfast live from Crux in Greater Manchester. More on the synagogue attack that happened here yesterday morning. Now declared as a terrorist incident by police. That happened pretty swiftly after the incident yesterday. Details continuing to emerge about the attacker. We have had his name and age. We've also been hearing about the two men killed in that attack, and we're waiting for updates on those injured. Let's get some reaction now. I'm joined by the Director of Anti-Semitism Policy Trust, Danny Stone. Danny, thank you so much for joining us here on Sky News this morning. Your thoughts on the horrendous incident that unfolded here in Crux yesterday morning?
Elias, can you count 10 for me, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Much nicer. I think we'll be okay, but just in case we don't need it.
Cool, thank you.
Danny, as with the nature of what's happened, a terrorism incident, a direct attack on British Jews, people look towards the politicians, the Prime Minister coming out yesterday with strong words for the community about protection and security and stopping anti-Semitism going forward. But many of the guests that I spoke to yesterday from the Jewish community were saying it's people we need to look at as well. You know, the politicians doing it at the highest level is one thing, but it's the people we mix with every day. It's about calling it out. Yeah.
No, I like it. Sorry? No, it's actually I don't work oh, yeah. Well, what's Aido's last name? I don't even know. Adrian Wilson. Oh, no, his first name's Cooper. Yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah, one more. Oh, great, yeah. Yeah. Especially in the media. Yeah, so this is me talking. I mean, we'll speak to it now, Russian and Sky's request.
Danny, does this feel like a watershed moment? So many people I've spoken to speaking on behalf of Jews in Britain have said, you know, as you've just said, they feared this kind of attack for a number of years, and we know security outside synagogues and in Jewish schools is something that has been there for as long as Jewish communities have been in the UK. But does this feel like a watershed moment?
After he's crushed, I might walk forward.
I can.
Do we need to get do we need to be getting
Raring to go. My outwards will be increasing patrols across Greater Manchester. Can you tell me what will you cue me in?
And Danny, we were talking to the CST yesterday, the BBC Security Trust, who do so much work.
So I will say 2 people killed, named this morning, say they are, say as police increase their patrols across Greater Manchester.
But there are so many other attacks that are foiled by British security services and by the CST.
Hi, dog. Wonderful, thank you. Can you see what the queue is by any chance? Yeah, just the queue, if you know it, or can you ask someone to send it me?
So nothing more.
Danny, really appreciate your time. Danny Stone, Director of the Anti-Semitism Policy Trust. Thank you for joining us on Sky Breakfast.
So we'll
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Erica, what have you got? So I'm doing breakfast.
Breakfast and channel, 4, and then we have been redeploying. I'm so sorry.
What do they want us to do?
To GMPH2 to see the Prime Minister. Might change, but that's what we know.
So no live at 9.
Okay, great. Oh, Mez has just sent it to me. Thank you.
Yeah, is that I should be coming on now to you guys?
Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, you know what? As we were going to Danny Stone, I thought it was her.
The great man is as that's police presence, not
Yeah, I understand that.
This morning, 2 men were killed have been named as Adrian Dorby, who was 53, and Melvin Kravitz, who was 66. Comes as police say they're stepping up patrols across Greater Manchester.
My number is the one that ends in 209.
and just say. Not when she's going to go on there. I don't want to spotlight, but it's really live.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. G'day, guys. Can you just call me on my on the number that ends in 209?
to their great police has
Very well shot.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, I've got sausage on my plate.
What was that again?
The first thing I've eaten since that train up yesterday. The first thing I've eaten since the train yesterday. Getting up here.
Yeah, I think we've already done that. Should be on the feed, or was it not recording? Yeah, beautiful, mate. All right, pop us through and we'll come up with it.
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock. This is Sky News Breakfast live from Manchester, where police have named the 2 victims of yesterday's deadly attack on a synagogue. It is Friday, the 3rd of October. We can bring you the first picture of one of the men killed, Melvin Kravitz. Also named this morning, Adrian Dorby. Police say they are on high alert across the country.
Yeah.
35-year-old Jihad al-Shamie, a British citizen of Syrian descent, is named as the suspected terrorist who killed those 2 men.
This hour.
We're live on the scene where GMP has confirmed that police presence will be heightened.
3 others remain in a serious condition in hospital this morning after that attack. Meanwhile, 3 people have been arrested on suspicion of terror offences. The attack on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar is described as the tragic result of Jew hatred by the UK's chief rabbi. We hear from a community in shock. The Home Secretary says pro-Palestinian protests that came just hours after that deadly attack are dishonourable.
The 2 people killed have been named as Adrian Dorby, who was 53, and Melvin Kravitz, who was 66, as police step up patrols across Greater Manchester.
Good morning from Crux in Manchester. Police today naming the 2 victims of yesterday's deadly terror attack on a Manchester synagogue as 53-year-old Adrian Dorby and 66-year-old Melvin Kravitz. We have the first photo of Melvin Kravitz, both men from this area, Crumsall. 3 other people remain in hospital receiving treatment after yesterday's terror incident. Also named the suspects believed to have carried out the terror attack, 35-year-old Jihad al-Shamie, a British citizen of Syrian descent. 3 other people have now been arrested on terror offences. In just a moment we'll hear the latest from Greater Manchester Police and from the community in shock, whose solemn day of Yom Kippur was shattered by this deadly attack. But first, our report from our Chief North of England correspondent Greg Milan. I have to warn you that it does contain graphic images in the aftermath of yesterday's attack.
Police are doing that work right now behind the cordons. That is where the synagogue is towards the end of this road here, and it lies very much at the heart of a very large Jewish community from where those 2 men came. Here in Crumsall in northern Manchester. Adrian was 53, Melvin was 66, and the people that live there, well, they really need reassurance from the police right now, because so many of them are living in fear, not least those who have witnessed the horrific attack yesterday. Small car being driven into the gates of the synagogue, a man in black getting out, stabbing people, seemingly trying to get inside the building itself. Now the Home Office telling us that this man came to the country from Syria as a very young child.
Yes, I can hear you.
British national. At this point, no links to terrorist organisations already.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't see it, so I'm going to say, you know, the families of the two men and say who they are. Do you want me to name him first?
We just got that still. It wasn't the police issue, was it?
No, I think we've got it.
Right.
I know Hope was out doing a door knock this morning, so I don't know whether it's from that.
She was successful. She got someone to chat, a neighbour.
And did she? Yeah, she said she went yesterday and no one was home. She went, I think it's got the right house, but they might be in hospital.
So I'll mention Melvin Kravitz, right? I'll say the police named two men as Melvin Kravitz, who was 66, I think we have a picture of, and Adrian Dolby, who was 53.
al-Shamie, a 35-year-old British citizen. The BBC is reporting that man moved over to the United Kingdom with his parents from Syria when he was a minor back in 2006. Now, I'm standing about 25 or so metres from the synagogue when at about 9:30 a.m. Thursday local time, police believe the man drove into a crowd of worshippers on the most holy day of the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur. He then got out of that car and began stabbing people, killing 2, injuring at least 3 others. Now, police have since released the details of the 2 people they believe that were killed. They are Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz, both members of the local community. And it's a tight-knit community, Joe, very multicultural, multi-faith, and from what we've heard from people here, interactions between the Islamic community, the Jewish community, Hindu community here as well are very harmonious. So this is a difficult time for the community as they continue to learn of this news and the victims and the new details that are emerging. Well, I've spoken to quite a few people now who say they have been concerned about their safety in the lead up to Yom Kippur and several other significant days on the Jewish calendar. Now, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer has spoken about an increasing anti-Semitic sentiment across the country, and certainly people I've spoken to say they felt that. Let's have a look at some of them.
And North of England correspondent Shingi Marike is here with me in Crux this morning. And Shingi, this police investigation moving quickly, and we've found out more about the 2 men that were killed outside the synagogue yesterday.
That's right. Those 2 men have been named this morning by Greater Manchester Police as Adrian Dolby, who's 53, and Melvin Kravitz, who's 66, and who we have obtained a picture.
And Joe, it certainly will see
both from the Crux area,
as people
and we know that their families are aware,
their loved ones were the victims of this attack.
Working to support
police say they will step up
Home Office
patrols
carry out
across the Manchester area
at some point
over the
this
next
morning, and in that Greater Manchester
weeks.
Police
But
statement,
certainly
what's
people
quite striking
I've spoken to are sceptical about just how effective that will be. But the Prime Minister, as you mentioned, says to do everything in his power to protect the community.
Shingi, for the moment, thank you, Shingi Marike. Cross developments here in Greater Manchester for us this morning. Addressing pro-Palestinian protests which took place last night, just hours after the attacks took place. The Home Secretary told this programme a little earlier that she was deeply disappointed to see them go ahead.
Yes, that's right, Naga. And this morning, as you've been hearing in the last few hours, police have released the names of the 2 men who were killed in the attack. They are Melvin Kravitz, who was 66, who I think we may have an image of, and Adrian Dolby, who was 53. In a statement, Greater Manchester Police expressed their sympathies to the men's families, said that they were being supported by specially trained officers and that they would be kept abreast of this fast-moving investigation. But there is certainly a sense of fear in the Jewish community following this attack. Josh Simon, who is the only Jewish MP in Greater Manchester, said this morning that there was a palpable sense of fear in the Jewish community around events and schools. And indeed, we've had a statement from Greater Manchester Police this morning saying that they will be stepping up patrols across Greater Manchester, provide extra reassurance that there will be extra presence at synagogues, not just here in Greater Manchester, but across the country. And Greater Manchester Police say they are developing their plans for extra coverage into Friday evening and across the weekend, which of course covers the Jewish Sabbath. We've also been hearing this morning from the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, who was on BBC Breakfast, and she said she understood the community's concerns. Now, the police say there will be increased visits to places of worship across Greater Manchester today as this police investigation continues at pace.
Very upsetting to have those names, isn't it? Now we know the two men who were killed yesterday, Adrian Dolby, aged 53, and Melvin Abbott's aged 66. We can now bring you a picture of Melvin. The first image of him has been released to the public. Incredibly sad and
Amanda, thank you.
Of course, we also know that there are still 3 men in
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has labelled the synagogue attack a barbaric act of terror. Joining me now is Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Pascal. Foreign Minister, thank you so much for joining us here on Sky News. Your reaction to yesterday's terrorist attack?
They decided not to come on camera in the end because they said they were worried about the impact it could have on their lives and their businesses. But they did speak to me about this attack, and they said it's shocking, but it's not surprising. They say that for the majority of those in the Jewish faith, they feel that this is something that's been coming for a long, long time. One of them also added, and he didn't want to say this on camera, but he said that Sir Keir Starmer has a lot to answer for the attack yesterday. Now, of course, yesterday Sir Keir Starmer rushed home from Denmark, and we know that he attended a synagogue in London for the service last night, and he also increased security at all synagogues around the UK. We also know this morning Greater Manchester Police have announced that they will have increased security, increased police presence around the boroughs over the coming days, just to make sure that those of the Jewish faith and those within the communities feel a lot safer after yesterday's horrific attack.
A letter written by your president to the King Charles, just days before this attack here at the synagogue in Greater Manchester, talked about the rise of anti-Semitism in the UK, in other Commonwealth countries as well, Australia and Canada. He had been in the UK, in London, talking to members of the Jewish community here about their fears, and what he heard prompted him to write this letter to King Charles, and he talks about it being a watershed moment in history. As I said, this letter sent just days before the Jewish community's worst fear was realised, but it gives a sense of what the Jewish community have been saying and perhaps feeling that the UK authorities, the UK government, have not been listening.
Yeah, that's right. Their names were released by Greater Manchester Police this morning. They are Melvin Kravitz, who is 66, and Adrian Dorby, who was 53. Police say in a statement that they are being supported by, the families of the two men are being supported by specially trained officers, and that they are being kept abreast of the investigation, an investigation which moves on at pace. As you say, 3 people were arrested in connection with the investigation, which is being treated as a terrorist inquiry. They are 2 men who are in their 30s and a woman in her 60s. We've also got a sense of the level of fear that there is in the Jewish community following these attacks, and that there had been building up to them indeed over the last 2 years, really, since the October the 7th attacks of 2 years ago. Josh Simon, who is the only Jewish MP in Greater Manchester, has been speaking to the BBC this morning, and he said that there was a palpable sense of fear amongst the Jewish community around events and schools. And in response to what has happened here, Greater Manchester Police have said that they will be stepping up patrols across Greater Manchester in response to it. They will be also be carrying out extra patrols at synagogues and extra visits to places of worship across the city. We are also expecting to see extra visits to religious synagogues across the UK. And indeed, the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has been speaking to the BBC this morning, saying that she can understand the sense of fear that people have around the events that have happened here over the past 24 hours.
To be done by the UK government.
They're talking to each other. No one's speaking to me.
Sorry, your volume's quite low in the gallery.
Turn it right up.
Yes, I mean, I think there is a sense of shock, but perhaps not surprise, that something like this had happened. The fact that they had security on the gates of the synagogue shows you the level of concern that there was, that there might be a threat against members of the Jewish community. If you look at the figures for the level of hate crime directed at Jewish people that's been recorded by police in England and Wales, those hate crimes doubled last year from around 1,500 to more than 3,000. So there is certainly a palpable sense of concern amongst the Jewish community, and all the more so in somewhere like North Manchester, which is one of the centres of Jewish life within Great Britain.
I can't hear you, it's just your voice is coming through distorted. Hear the music, okay? Yes.
Don't worry. Yeah, it's fine. No worries.
Deputy Foreign Minister, Deputy Foreign Minister, it has to be said that, you know, Jews in Britain will say that since events of October 7th and what's happening in Gaza over the last 2 years, they have felt more concerned, more frightened for their safety. And on that note, I just want to ask you about the peace deal, which was announced on Tuesday by your Prime Minister and the President of the United States. Hamas given a number of days to look over this peace deal, and this seen as a real step forward. And I just want to ask about the progress of that. Yeah, conflating the two has been pointed out that it is completely wrong, and we have reflected that. But just in terms of an update on that peace deal as a separate issue. Yep. Yeah, language and action matters, and it. I completely get that. Conflating what's happening in the Middle East with an attack on British Jews should not be happening. Jews have been living under threat in the UK and globally for far longer than what happened after October the 7th. But just what I'm asking for is an update on that peace deal. As I said, we heard about it on Tuesday. We were told that we would get more information in the coming days. So as the Deputy Foreign Minister, I'm simply asking you for an update on that because people are watching it closely.
Where can they be? We've been sent all over.
I've been told it's
Crux and Middleton.
That's the one.
Hello again.
Next one along.
We can't go all the way around, don't we?
Yeah, unfortunately. We can't let anyone through this point. We can let people leave. But the official place for flowers is the junction of Crumsall Lane and Middleton Road. It is, yeah. Alright, thank you.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on to the show this morning, Sharon Haskell, Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, talking about yesterday's terrorist attack at a synagogue here in Greater Manchester in the UK, and for updating us on that peace deal as well. As you said, we await word from Hamas. It is agreed by Israel, Arab nation leaders and the US President, but we wait for further detail on that. Thank you for your time. Well, fears of such an attack were already strong in Manchester's Jewish community, as we were reflecting there. Nonetheless, for the many who were leaving nearby synagogues, completely unaware of what had happened, the news came as a complete shock. Katerina Vitozzi spoke to some of them. Well, yeah, I thought I made it clear at the start that I wasn't conflating the two issues, but I think she was just ready for someone to try and make a comparison. So I was a bit like, I'll let her go and then have to. Yeah, she just was waiting, wasn't she? So I was a bit like. Yeah.
Well, this is a very I attended Heaton Park regularly with my family, and I've married in Syrian and my son had his permission. So it's a very familiar place for me, and very essential that it's not a kind of spot.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you. It's really upsetting that this person as well, but the whole thing is very, very upsetting. I don't be all the they won't expect it to happen, but there isn't a surprise. It wasn't like
Yes, sorry. Making you nervous standing on your shoulder.
It has been a growing concern over the last couple of years, particularly the last few months. It seems to be that the terrorism must attack and murders over.
Well, we'll continue to follow developments here in Crux or Greater Manchester after that terrorist incident at the local synagogue yesterday morning, which has left the community, as you were hearing Katerina's report there, in complete shock. We'll also bring you updates on that police investigation as well that's continuing at pace. In the meantime, though, I'm going to hand back to Anna Jantana.
Expressing concern about some of the statements that they've heard from medical hospitals, and this is built up the community to be very concerned. So I don't think the medical isn't it all, and it doesn't represent the society here in the UK, the Jewish community here. It's very, very satellite, it's very loyal to the UK, they're very much part of society. And it's time for people to what is happening. I think we need the security. Also, it's an insurance for police to not be normal in the way it's
Just since 4 o'clock this morning. Until the next couple turns up, which could be any time from now on.
Well, communities can be
you know, we're also
it's about communities but the
I asked the question if they want to change the court and get Well, what I'd like to say is people in like Manchester, there's always been a constant problem. Refugees, people that come in and out of the world. And never have very much. They have stolen that people. And the community is a solid community. This won't affect that. So people like to stay in it. It's just a standard thing. And it's not going to drive a wedge between different elements of this community. It's not happening. Yeah, it's not really bad. We're over 100. That's where we are. You're a part of this community as much as everybody else. And we will not fall for things like that. Intimidating or driving a wedge between the parties. We're not having that. That's where we are. Go on, that was it.
Alright, do you want to come this way and I'll
You're used to your insured
breakfast TM. We've got Louise Elman's just been released off GMB, so we are just about to wire it up. Be with you in about 2 minutes.
All right. I'm sure you'll start. Thank you for BBC will give you that.
unaware of the
Dame Louise, good morning. I'll let you put that in your ear, just in case I press it in too far.
No, it's like, no, these things keep coming out, so I've got to press it off.
They're never easy, right? So you've got.
Might be better if you do it actually.
Pop that over your ear, and then if you just press that bit in, so that's comfortable for you. And at the moment, I find, as a glasses wearer myself, if you put your glasses over the arm of the glasses over the top of it.
I'm not sure it's improper. Is that improper?
If you can hear Naga talking, then that's him properly.
Quiet.
I can turn that up for you. Volume on there, I won't turn it up too loud in case it makes your ears bleed.
Was that going to stay in?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah, okay. I had one yesterday that kept coming in.
Oh, it's terrible. What are you constantly doing?
It had to be. So I don't know. Let's see if that's right.
We should be alright. I don't think you're going to be doing any handstands or cartwheels, so we should be okay. If I just clip that to your skirt, is that okay like that?
Right, that's okay.
And if you just stand in there for me.
On the stage. Okay, thank you. So, am I
straight down the lens?
And I'm the interviewer down there?
Yeah. It will either be Charlie or Naga.
Right, okay.
But I'm sure the director will let you know.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. That's fine.
I think last time I interviewed you, you were leader of the council.
Lancashire,
so,
yes, that's right, yes.
A while ago at County Hall.
Yes, I left there in 1997. Yes, and then I became an MP, and I left there in 2019. So, yes.
Time flies.
Yes.
My granddaughter's 4 this year, and I don't know where it is.
I know. It's suddenly it happened. Yes.
When you stop speaking, there's a delay on the line of about 1 or 2 seconds.
Oh yes.
So don't be alarmed if Naga doesn't pick up straight away on the end of your answer.
Right. Okay.
Because that's when
you never know when you're here. You're never sure what's happening. Yes.
Yeah. But there'll be a bit of silence, but that's normal.
Am I looking the right bit? If I look in the middle, that's right.
Straight down
that's right. Yeah, that's okay. Yes.
I know it's not pleasant looking at me gurning.
Oh, it's quite all right.
Why haven't I not actually listened to it? I do think that people I've got some tears. I've got some blue. You've got some blue. Get rid of that anger and it gets to you.
Hello, mate. Long time no see, you well? Yeah, ducking and diving. DTL for breakfast.
Another one.
Yeah, we've been live all morning.
Right on that.
Breakfast channel. Then Reuters take our feed. And Robin's we've been doing
right on.
Okay. They're at GMP headquarters. Oh. 41. I believe so, yeah. I'm not sure how far down it the road you can get though. Nearly though. You need to adjust the volume. It's just a little button.
Where is it there?
Did you not notice it?
I can hear it as it's in now.
I'll keep wearing them until I go on my holiday.
It's okay. It's firm there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I once had a bad experience with an earpiece, so I get
yeah, they're not the nicest thing.
No.
Because if it's one ear, you tend to look that way to who you're talking to.
Yeah. Oh, something come off. There's something, I felt something come loose somewhere.
Oh no, it's just that little bit.
Oh, that's all right.
Just that little
That's
bit.
all right. Right.
Yeah, I can record and come on XQD cards. I'm not normal cards, so whoever's editing with you. Okay.
They come so forever, so they have to like, who's not? Yeah, I've got that's there's a massive. Yeah. Effectively what they are. Yeah. Even the UK I don't know. Being riots in Rotherham. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they said that
I was brought up in this area, and I went to Heaton Park Synagogue, and I was married in the synagogue, and my son had his mitzvah here. So I'm very familiar with the area, although I haven't lived here for some time. But it's a very familiar part of my life, and I'm very saddened personally, as well as more generally, about the terrible atrocity that took place yesterday. Yes, people are very upset about what happened, and they're shocked that this took place here in Manchester, and particularly at the synagogue, because this is an area where people do get along very well. But the community as a whole was not shocked that such an incident happened. There's been a rising concern in the Jewish community in recent months, over the past couple of years, where there has been more and more hate speech on the streets, which seems to be unchecked, people calling for global intifada, which indeed is what has actually happened now, and concerns in schools and universities, and even the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary have made important statements. Yes, there is a need for more support, more vigilance, more security, but this goes beyond that too. We have to look at legislation about where the difference is drawn between freedom of speech and hate speech. We have to look at an understanding of what anti-Jewish hatred is, broader education, and we have to look at how people feel too, how the community feels. The Jewish community is a very settled part of British society, a very loyal community, the community very involved in the life of the country, and most people in this country are very supportive of it. But the things that happened yesterday and the growing hatred that led to it is something that must be unacceptable, not just to the Jewish community, but to the community as a whole. The Prime Minister is doing a good job, but there's always more to be done. And I left the Labour Party in 2019 because its anti-Semitism, when Jeremy Corbyn was leader, became intolerable, and I left, and I rejoined when Keir Starmer demonstrated that he was tackling anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, and that is what he did. But this always has to be looked at, we always have to be vigilant, and it's not just about the Labour Party, it's about the whole of society too, and there's always more that needs to be done. Thank you. Okay.
This is Claire, she's a producer
Oh,
for
hello,
BBC
hello,
Network News.
hello,
So
hello,
sorry.
hello.
I work for News with BBC. Would it be possible for me to do a pre-recorded interview with you?
You can, but I've agreed to do something with the Today programme, which I think is now, and is that here? When I've done that...
Yes, of course.
If I just need to check when I'm doing it. Yes.
Radio car's about 3-minute walk away.
Oh, right, okay. Because they're going to go off air in 15 minutes.
Well, I better do that now. So if I can do it after that.
Yeah, why not get rid of this microphone?
Right, can I do
Use
that?
this one for
Then
you.
I'll come back and
Can
we'll
you
do
come back
something with
now?
Keith. Yeah.
Now, where's the radio course?
I'll come
Can
and
you
help you
take it
find
to
it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much
Nice
for
to
your
see
time.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see let's see.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, nice to meet you. So they did evacuate most of the residents staying in the mosque, but my wife's originally in head, so I felt that it's only that she thinks, what she knows, etc. And my job, I am beautiful, but I covered this kind of event. I never thought I'd be doing it when I knew. My wife, in fact, one of the things what they she does. I heard the sirens, etc., and something was going on. That's when I was laughed. But then when they evacuated saw the multitude of people, so you see the rabbi wearing his and I saw the blood. I saw it in my eyes. I mean, I know the rabbi, and I know he's someone that never shot. You know, he thinks he's so much, he's never shot. But that was a shock on his face. One thing that was recently, several members of the community, we have something and he wants to make sure that he can send letter to the picture. I was basically listening when he was out in the right as well actually, but not long ago when that from a perspective and I mean, this whole initiative is great dialogue. It is great relationship. But I won't mention that in too. No, I'm a Christian. From the door of the building, I ended back. How
Come back here. Right. No, that's a
for the prayer as well.
Slightly more energy and less lively.
Yeah.
If you can, hold that up slightly. Do you want me to hold that?
Could you? Sorry to give you. Right, now this is.
So this is recorded.
Yeah, this is for the 6th.
This is in case we need it at 6 o'clock. And it is, as in the one on BBC One.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
This one, you don't have to look at me this time, you can look at Claire.
You don't.
Oh, is this radio?
No, it's the TV.
You're covering it there. That's fine.
So it's not live.
No, that's fine. That's all right. That's okay.
And these kind of people, I mean, you have to be the ones that are there, right? Because there's community in Australia, in America, these kind of places where everyone will know you're right.
Okay, Claire, take your own.
That's my phone door there.
I'm still feeling shocked and I'm very upset and accept that this is happening in this country and accept that this is happening in the Jewish community. And I feel personally engaged as well because I grew up in this area, I attended Heaton Park Synagogue when I was married. So there's a personal connection as well as a the community are extremely upset, shocked that this is happening here in Manchester, but not surprised that there was going such an attack. Concern has been mounting in the Jewish community over the last couple of years, particularly over the last few months. There's been so much hate speech, very even in our hospitals. It's felt as being a lively time of
Hello? Hello? Okay, can you hear me? Shingy?
I don't have a mic.
He's got the mic on.
We haven't got a mic for Shingy. Have we got a boom?
No.
Well, we don't need the guests until after the 9, so can we just borrow the guest mic for now? Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cheers, bye.
Yeah, the guest isn't on until after 9, right? So we can swap it over then in the break.
People are very upset about what's happened, but they're not surprised because they felt that there was growing anti-Jewish.
Have no sound, so we can't move.
Got Holly.
But there's also concern.
Got no boom. Holly.
Very good community relations. So there is concern about positions, not just in this community, in the country more generally.
Somebody who was interviewed on the Today programme this morning saying that, this
Yep, Shingy's just coming in.
moving many families to consider moving. Do you believe that to be the case?
There's growing concern in the community about the future. People feel concerned. They don't like hate speech, they don't like the prejudice that they've encountered, and they're feeling increasingly uncomfortable.
And do you think that it's a place of moving ground, or that people will want to move?
Most members of the Jewish community might be part of this country where there is
Signal bank's fallen over.
We want the wider community and authorities to recognise what's happening and to take action. And that includes advocacy about anti-Jewish racism, anti-Semitism.
Good morning to you live from Greater Manchester this morning, where police have named the 2 victims of yesterday's deadly terror attack on a Manchester synagogue. They have been named as 53-year-old Adrian Dorby and 66-year-old Norman Kravitz. We have the first picture here on Sky News of Norman Kravitz, a member of the Jewish community here in Crux, both men from the area. We know that 3 other people remain in hospital this morning receiving treatment. Also named, the suspect believed to have carried out the terror attack yesterday, 35-year-old Jihad al-Shamie, a British citizen of Syrian descent. 3 others are currently under arrest on terror offences. In a moment we'll be hearing from Greater Manchester Police, their updates, and also be hearing from a community in shock. Correspondent Katrina Watotsi has been out and about talking to people. Our North of England correspondent Shingy Marike is here with you in Hampshire this morning. Shingy, let's talk about the developments this morning, because many people are waking up to the news. The names of the 2 Jews killed in that attack outside Kingdom Synagogue.
Yeah, that's right. A couple of updates from the police over the course of the morning. Most importantly, the names of the 2 victims have now been released. We know that they are Adrian Dorby, who is 53, and Melvin Kravitz, who is 66, both from the Crux area, this tightly Jewish community here. And in that statement, they also spoke about next steps. So we know that there's
Okay, thank you. Sorry, yeah, that's done.
I just that their families are aware and they're being supported by liaison officers. And so much of the statements released by Greater Manchester Police emphasise a couple of things. Firstly, cultural sensitivity. They mentioned that in their statement, naming the 2 victims, but then secondly, reassurance for the Jewish community. And before the names came out, Greater Manchester Police also spoke about how they are now increasing their patrols in a number of areas in Manchester with higher Jewish populations, and that they are also going to be at their places of worship at synagogues over the course of the day, because of course it's Shabbat, the day of rest. It's another very important day in the Jewish week. So all of that is happening off the back of an incident that has caused great trauma and is be affecting people here and further afield.
Yeah, very much so. Police presence in Jewish communities across the UK, and increased security at synagogues as well. I've just been speaking to an eyewitness to yesterday's terror attack.
Yeah, we'll send it now. So we'll do the tease and then we'll do it live with her in the night.
And it's his local synagogue. He lives just opposite, and he was talking about watching the aftermath of that police response yesterday. Traumatic event for everyone involved and the wider community that live around here. He wanted to pay particular tribute to the rabbi, who is somebody who you've actually interviewed throughout your course of work here on Sky News. And we've all seen that image of the rabbi from the synagogue in his white robes with blood at the bottom, such a striking image. And Josh, who will meet on the programme later on, so with the the heroic act of the rabbi, personally barricading worshippers into that synagogue to stop people from getting in. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about the rabbi, because you found him a very optimistic and inclusive character to talk to.
Yeah, that's right. The Rabbi Daniel Walker is someone who I interviewed last year, in February last year, when I was doing a piece about the rising figures, the rising numbers of cases of anti-Semitism. And I remember the conversation because it was in this synagogue, but also because he said to me that he had a vision for society that hadn't quite been born out yet. He hoped we could get back to where we were, meaning he hoped that Jewish people could feel safer again in British streets. But the irony is here, very sadly, that it's his congregation who have been attacked in what looks to be the opposite. And I actually spent not just time with him, but time in and amongst the Jewish community here in North Manchester. And I remember going to a pizza restaurant, the guy who ran the restaurant saying he'd been called with death threats and that he had to call in security as well. So I think it's just symptomatic of a wider anxiety, and the rabbi whose actions were heroic is obviously having to now deal with the fact that his community, the people who he led spiritually and in other ways, have been victims to awful attacks.
It is 9 o'clock. You're watching Sky News. We're reacting to yesterday's horrific events here in Greater Manchester, that terrorism incident outside a synagogue just yards from where Shingi and I are standing now. And Shingi, just to return to the Rabbi Daniel Walker and the impact of the Jewish community here in Crux. This is a very diverse part of the city. Manchester itself, one of the most diverse cities in the UK, we all know that. But this area in particular, Heaton Park, Crux, a place where the Muslim community, the Jewish community, Christians, Hindus all live literally side by side, in the houses here, the semi-detached, they literally are next door neighbours. And the rabbi himself, big on interfaith and holding those meetings, strengthening those bonds within the community. And I think that's been reflected by what a lot of people have said here today. The complete shock that this could happen at this synagogue because of the closeness of the community ties here and people getting along, rubbing along together side by side in day-to-day life.
Yeah, I got a picture of that just when I drove up this morning and walked down the street. I saw people of all areas. I think this area is well known for being a place where the Muslim community sits comfortably alongside the Jewish community here, and Rabbi Walker will be a figurehead in and amongst that community, and someone who thought a lot about the security of the synagogue, which he had increased at that time. I spoke to him last year, but also thought about an interfaith dialogue, also thought about the fact that he, as a man of faith, had a vision for society, and that vision was one of inclusivity and safety for not just people who are Jewish, but people from all over this area of Manchester and further afield as well.
Okay, Sheila, thank you. Shingi's going to be here in Manchester throughout the morning, reflecting on developments as the police investigation continues. And we do know the identity of the attacker yesterday at the synagogue here in Crux. We're waiting for more details on who from the police. The motive as yet unclear, but we do know that this is an attack on British Jews. Two men killed, one of whom you see there.
So you step in just exactly where I was ordered, but then you look at me, and then I'll hold this out, and it goes back and forth like that. Is that alright?
Wonderful. Fine. An eyewitness who saw the aftermath of this attack and the police response. He also knows the two men who were killed. They were his neighbours, his fellow worshippers at the local synagogue here. So we'll be reflecting their lives this morning. We'll also be keeping you up to date on the police investigation. 3 people in emerged late last night were arrested, suspected of terrorism offences. We know that when arrests are made in connection with terrorism, it can be a long process. Those can be held for a number of days before the details can start to emerge. So we will follow the progress of that police investigation here on Sky News. But I want to bring in Josh Aronson, who I've just been mentioning, local resident, journalist and disability rights activist who lives just across the road from the synagogue. Josh, thank you for coming to talk to me. First of all, my condolences for what happened literally on your doorstep yesterday.
Thank you. Now, I'm actually a Jewish world reporter. I cover attacks on synagogues around the world. I never thought on my own doorstep that is what happened.
We were just talking about that before we came on air. Like you said, this is something that British Jews have feared for a long time, particularly over the last 2 years. But this is a fear that's realised in other parts of the world, and now it's come to the UK. What's the overall feeling about that?
I'm still shocked, disbelief. This is the first ever targeted murder against Jewish people. I mean, there has in the UK since 1299. There has been hatred and anti-Semitism, but targeted kills have not been, and it's just shocked, disbelief. The amount of messages that I've received from people from all over the world, not only the UK but all over the world, to make sure I'm okay. It's just outpouring. I mean, I even received a call from a member of President Herzog's Voice of the People Council, which is a council that he put together to promote interfaith dialogue, and he told me at the President's office condolences and to tell me that he actually wrote a letter to King Charles for warning that such a thing could
that letter written on the 29th of September, just days before we saw unfold.
And the amount of outpouring of love and worry. I think it's on us now to analyse, to discuss. But one thing I do want to say, Keir Starmer says, we're going to put more security. I don't think we need more security. What we need is dialogue. You can't fight violence with violence, hatred with hatred. What you need is dialogue, progress, in order for one another to learn from one another. And I'm not only talking about the non-Jews to learn about the Jews, I'm talking the Jewish people also have to learn about the non-Jewish religions. Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, Christianity. There's so much that each of us have to learn, and that combat hatred by understanding one another, by knowing one another. That is just what creates that power of honoring one another.
Can we talk about what unfolded in front of your flat yesterday at your local synagogue? I mean, we stand here today, I hope you don't mind me saying that you're in a coat covering your pyjamas. You haven't been allowed home yet because of the police called in. You and your wife evacuated like everyone else. You were getting ready for the day for Yom Kippur when you heard 2 loud bangs. Talk to me about what you know what it was like.
So at 9:30 this morning, I was going bed. My wife stopped. It was getting ready. I heard loud shots. Now, unfortunately, I've been in war zones with my job. I know what war zone sounds like, and knows what shots sound like. I realised those were gunshots, and I said that can't be, it's not possible here that there'll be gunshots. But then I heard the sirens and the choppers, and I realised something was going up. Obviously, being a journalist, I raced out. Police wouldn't even allow us out of our flats. It was then, shortly afterwards, they knocked on our door and we had to evacuate. As we were going out, I saw multiple emergency vehicles, bomb squads, police dogs, fire engines. I did see the rabbi. He was standing there with the robe that they wear for prayers on the special day. And that robe, I saw specks of blood at the bottom of the robe. I saw also the look of shock on his face. The rabbi walked in someone, I know personally, someone that said that I've been through so much and seen so much. But yet he was always got a look of steadfast loyalty and faith. But that look of shock on his face, I could never forget. And the aftermath of We saw bomb squads going in, then we heard the controlled explosion. We were outside on the cordon, neighbours bought chairs for elderly people.
Hello channel, Rowan isn't here at the strike point anymore. He's now at the GMP headquarters.
And then just throughout the day, countless interviews, countless trying to...
No, he's not at the strike point anymore.
Can we talk about the two men that lost their lives, two members of your community, Jewish men heading to the synagogue to worship, Melvin Kravitz and Adrian Dorn? You know them. Can you tell me about them?
Yeah, both of them were incredible people. They had good hearts, loved each other. In fact, Adrian, every Shabbat when I would walk out, as I was walking towards the synagogue that I occasionally go, because I usually go to another synagogue where my brother's a cantor. But he always saw me, he was always wave, "Hey Josh, good to see you, Shabbat Shalom, how are you, what's the news?" You know, he always had that smile on his face, always there for the community. And Melvin is also such a special person. I mean, this morning when I saw my wife's name, when my wife was Melvin's name, she was baptized. And that's how special Melvin was, that it means so much. That he was someone that really, cared for the community and was there for the community.
And now the community will be there for their families, because obviously the names have just been released. The British Jews around here, it's a small coastal community. They know the two men have lost well before the public, and they'll be gathering around those families, because today, of course, the Shabbat as well.
Tonight, for the Shabbat, I know the president of the Board of Deputies, Phil Rosenberg, is currently on a train. He left on the first train this morning from London in order to show his solidarity with the Jewish community here. Spend Shabbat here on the spur of the moment. That's how special he is, Bill. He called me up as well because I'm also a member of the Board of Deputies, and the whole Jewish community as a whole stands together around the world.
We heard some strong words from the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, admitting that there is a rise in anti-Semitism. It's been called out by several figures of the Jewish community that it has been going unchecked here in the UK. The Prime Minister offering, as you said, strength and security at synagogues again here, and I'm sure the British Jews will say we've got a lot of security. That is what stopped more lives being claimed yesterday. There will be a heightened police presence on the streets of Jewish communities, but that cannot go on forever. What we need is lasting change. And in terms of the Prime Minister, what would you say to him about securing that lasting change?
So straight out, so Keir, I'm a member of the Labour Party, but I say to you and out there, go and promote projects for interfaith and understand. Go create the knowledge. And even the whole aspect of the recognition of the Palestinians. I'm a social democrat. I believe in recognition of a Palestinian state, but it's not the right time. And there has to be timing for everything. And it's just that at this point we need to just do everything to fight hatred, and fighting the hatred is dialogue, is understanding each other, is by promoting that what's happening
by saying
to ensure half of Jews or that of any country.
Yeah, that's an important distinction to make, isn't it? And,
doing their best to make sure.
We've been reflecting that through the Sky News. What is happening in the Middle East and involving the Israeli government doesn't reflect on British Jews going about their everyday life in the UK, nor should any war, any conflict, any action be reflected on everyday people. I think that's something that you're keen to stress.
Before, I was just over a month ago with Newsmax. I went on a mission was top US journalists from Newsmax, including White House correspondents. I went to Israel and I met with the Israeli leaders and I met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, but there's no way that I could stop the war. You know, I said to him that I would love for something to happen, but complexities and everything, even the regular Israelis, there's a lot of Israelis that's against actual war, but there has to be a distinction of British Jewry or any Jewry around the world, because Jewry around the world have been attacked all over. I'm covering attacks in all over the world, and they've been attacked, they've been targeted hatred just because of a war that, we all have relatives there, but we cannot do anything about it. We're not. And there's complexities behind that. You know, honestly, I lost friends on 7th of October. I know a lot of people that were there on 7th of October that were kidnapped, that were murdered, and many of them were for peace. Many of them were social democrats pushing for a two-state solution. And Hamas is not for the Palestinians. They're for of hatred for everyone, including the West. And that's what must be remembered, and that must be brought out, that we must stand together for British Jewry, for world Jewry.
But I can also...
Love and just dialogue. Speak to your neighbours, speak to Jewish people if you see. Learn
hey guys,
about
if you can hear me, can you just call my number
Jewish
for the
people would love
IFB?
to learn about non-Jewish religion.
7909-417-209.
We don't yet know the motive behind yesterday's attack, but we do know it was an attack on British Jews. That is clear. And as you've reflected so well there, Josh, the last 2 years since October 7th, it does come into play in some respect, because the Jewish people over the last 2 years, anti-Semitism has increased on the statistics 400% just in that 2-year period because of what is going on, so far away from the UK. But it has heightened this sense of fear. What would you say, not just to your community this morning, some 24 hours on after the event, but communities across the UK, about how they should be feeling, how they should be coming together, and how they should seek support if they need it? Because it's one thing hearing from the Prime Minister, it's another thing seeing it in action on the streets around you.
I would say to anyone, if you feel threatened, if you see anything, report. There's CSP, there's police, definitely report.
Hello guys.
But to know that a new day will come, and hopefully this will waken up people. Hopefully this will
Please call my number.
Showcase to people
It ends in 209.
that
Thank you.
we can get together as one. I mean, yesterday, one of my neighbours here on the street, Muslim and another neighbour Christian and myself, we just hugged together. And this cannot happen in our neighbourhood. And that, what must be done is that understanding from each other, that working together as one. And inshallah, please God, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will be able to succeed and create a place which is better for all.
It's a good note to end our conversation on, Josh. Thank you, Josh Aronson, local resident journalist as well. And thank you so much for your time. And I hope you get to back inside your home soon and start to process what's gone on. It's been incredibly difficult to be for us, so I appreciate your time. Thank you, Josh. Well, as I was just discussing with Josh there, fears of such an attack already strong amongst Manchester's Jewish community. Nonetheless, for the many who were leaving nearby synagogues in the Greater Manchester area, completely unaware of what had happened, because of course it was Yom Kippur, no devices, it came as a complete shock. Katerina Matozzi has been speaking to some of them.
How are you?
Thanks, guys. Well done, well done. Josh.
Thank you.
Josh, thank you so much for the program.
Thank you.
About a minute away, Imogen.
I know, it's not enough that.
8% battery.
Actually, if you're forwarding all the emails to my personal, I've got 30%. Yeah, probably.
Oh, really? Oh, that's 100%. Well done, well done. Yeah. Oh, so you're rearing all over again. Thanks.
Hello, Guy. How are you? Good to hear your voice. Let's not talk about that. That was after 4 beers, I may say, if I may say. It thankfully never occurred. Yes.
What, the one 3 minutes ago? What am I looking at?
I would have got one off him, surely. Mate, if he slipped.
Postponing Saturday's protest. Okay, fine.
Beautiful. Yep, they're rolling. Imogen, are you good? Excellent. Yeah, we're good here, Guy, if you're all good.
I just want to bring you an update from Metropolitan Police. We were talking to the Home Secretary here on breakfast a short time ago, a pro-Palestinian demonstration that took place in London just hours after the attack here outside the synagogue in Greater Manchester. She was talking about the sensitivity of that, the disappointment that it went ahead. More protests are planned for this weekend. We've just had this from the Metropolitan Police, which says the horrific terrorist attack that took place in Manchester yesterday will have caused significant fear and concern in communities across the UK, including here in London. Yet at a time when we want to be deploying every available officer to ensure the safety of those communities, we are instead having to plan for a gathering of more than 1,000 people in Trafalgar Square on Saturday in support of a terrorist organisation. By choosing to encourage mass lawbreaking on this scale, defend our juries are drawing resources away from the communities of London at a time when they are needed most. We urge them to do the responsible thing and delay or cancel their plans. That statement from the Metropolitan Police talking about defend our juries, which is the organisation mounting the protest planned for Saturday in London's Trafalgar Square. They said this today. The Metropolitan Police wrote to us to ask us that we postpone Saturday's mass protest in Trafalgar Square, citing significant pressure on policing. Our response, in short, don't arrest us then. That is from Defend Our Juries, the organisation planning Saturday's protest in London.
Likewise.
In Trafalgar
Thanks, mate.
Square. We'll continue to monitor that development here on Sky News throughout the course of the morning.
Okay.
Still to come on breakfast. We'll have more on how police are mobilising nationwide to protect Jewish communities.
Hey Rosie, how are you?
My big feet going in the way. Thank you. Don't worry, don't worry. It's all right. We're all reading at the same time.
If we have respect coming to us, are we going to work off this mic, or just keep it in the fixed position and work off it? Yeah. Or do you want to like give me a personal or?
We'll sort something out.
Okay.
A little bit, thankfully. A little bit.
Just so
4 or 5 hours, which is good.
So I'll be doing a kind of preliminary intro.
Yeah.
then into the VT, then I've got down the line with the guest, and then if this other guest arrives,
are you ready for me?
It's either be Town Works coming to us first of all, or it will be me handing back, and because we're expecting a smaller. I might be able to just talk over pictures at the end of that stage, so that bit's a bit fluid.
Can you hear them calling out?
Good evening to you, Rosie. Well, new details emerging on that. So police say the two men killed in this terrorist incident were 66-year-old Kravitz and 53-year-old Adrian Dolby. They were both local residents, members of the small, thriving community, and I'm standing about 25 metres from where that terrorist incident.
Yes, it's slightly.
So do the breaking news first, and then the.
But yes, I can hear you. A bit of distortion or crackle on the line.
In terms of the broader political reaction, well, the Israeli Foreign Minister has laid the blame squarely at the feet of British authorities, saying it's failed to curb a wave of toxic anti-Semitism. That's certainly been a sentiment echoed by some people here who say there's been a heightened sense of fear, concerns for their safety. But let's say they will step up patrols in the coming weeks with particular focus in and around Jewish places of worship. They say they'll do their best to ensure this doesn't happen again. Rosie? Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Hello.
Hi there, I'm fine. You? I think Emily is chasing, but I don't have the headlines at the moment.
They've only just done it, so I'm sending it to you now.
Okay, it's being sent now, I'm told. No, I'm told they're being sent on WhatsApp now, actually, so that should be fine. I do.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
Well, we're expecting him to arrive any moment, but he's not here yet. So I'm afraid you have to take your cue, depending on whether we've got him or not.
Let's just remind you that breaking news I brought you before the break concerning protests that will be taking place in central London this weekend. The Metropolitan Police concerned about resources that will be used to police those demonstrations in light of what's happened here in Manchester, the resources they're being asked to allocate to Jewish communities and synagogues. And the Metropolitan Police put this statement out on social media. Let me read it to you. The horrific terrorist attack that took place in Manchester yesterday will have caused significant fear and concern in communities across the UK, including here in London. Yet at a time when we want to be deploying every available officer to ensure the safety of those communities, we are instead having to plan for a gathering of more than 1,000 people in Trafalgar Square on Saturday in support of a terrorist organisation. By choosing to encourage mass law breaking in this space, Defend Our Juries are drawing resources away from communities of London at a time when they are needed most. We urge them to do the responsible thing.
Can we just check, is it Levy or Levy, please? Can you check for me?
Defend Our Juries is the organisation behind Saturday's protest in Trafalgar Square. They said that their action is to go ahead as planned. They said today the Metropolitan Police wrote to us to ask that we postpone Saturday's mass protest in Trafalgar Square, citing significant pressure on the police. Our response is short: don't arrest us. To be clear, the protest in Trafalgar Square on Saturday is in support of Palestine Action, which is a prescribed terrorist organisation here in the UK. That protest is against that label.
I'm just going to no, thank you. At the moment, I won't.
Action. The police have asked the organisers to postpone or cancel that demonstration in order for them to reallocate their resources after the terrorist attack yesterday.
Awesome, thank you.
But as of yet, Defend Our Jury is still pressing on with that protest on Saturday in London. We'll follow developments on that situation here on Sky News throughout the day for you. Now, Sir Keir Starmer has vowed to defeat rising anti-Semitism in the wake of yesterday's synagogue attack and promised to protect Britain's Jewish communities. Police mobilising across the UK in order to further protect communities from any further incidents. Our Home Editor Jason Farrell has this next report.
A lot of
Hey Tim, yes I can, mate.
We're live here on the scene, the latest updates and the investigation that's been staged.
Yeah, no dramas, thanks mate. Minimal setup.
Yeah, he's here. He's just behind the camera.
No. It's been the same. You're the bell. Great, thank you.
Hi Claire.
And then what was the thing from there to try to drink? Is it Rob?
Okay.
I can,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. We've got a few minutes, haven't we? So fingers crossed.
I was going to
No worries, thank you.
Okay.
Cool, thank you, Tim.
Just drawing your
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I asked what
Okay.
the delay was on.
This is BBC News and I'm Anita McVeigh live here in Manchester where police have named the two men killed in the attack here on Thursday as security tightens at synagogues around the UK. The suspect is 35-year-old Jihad al-Shamie, a British man of Syrian descent. Police have declared a terrorist incident. The chief rabbi condemns the attack as the tragic result of an unrelenting wave of Jew hatred, and the Prime Minister promises to keep Jewish people safe.
When the gas comes in, can you just members of this little fine, okay, and I'm standing about 25 metres from where it all happened, and there's still a sense of shock. People coming to terms with what happened. Now, in terms of the broader political reaction, the Israeli Foreign Minister has laid the blame squarely at the feet of British authorities, saying they failed to curb a wave of toxic anti-Semitism across the country. That's certainly been a sentiment echoed.
You join us here at the police cordon in Manchester, very close to the Heaton Park Synagogue, which is just down the road behind me, where the attack happened yesterday, Thursday, killing two men and injuring four others. Three of those remain in hospital. Now, police have named the two men who died in yesterday's attack at the synagogue, the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation synagogue. To give it its full title, they are 53-year-old Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz, who was 66, and we have a picture to show you here of Mr. Kravitz. They were killed while observing Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Police say they are supporting their families with specially trained officers. Now, increased security has been put in place at synagogues across the UK, and the Home Secretary has said today that the man who carried out the attack, Jihad al-Shamie, had not been referred to the UK's anti-terror programme Prevent. He was a Syrian-born man, but who came to the UK as a young child. We have this first report now from Nick Johnson, and a warning that contains images you may find distressing.
Yes.
Apologies, we don't have that report from Nick at the moment. That is being updated. We'll bring that to you as soon as we can. But we can now bring you this from the UK's chief rabbi, Sir Ephraim Mervis, who told the BBC that there had been an unrelenting wave of hatred against Jews.
Hello,
Hi.
Sarah J. Thank you so much for coming down to talk to us. Condolences. What an awful 24 hours.
How long on the spot, please?
Yeah, I've just been talking to Josh, who lives here across the road. He gave you a shout out.
It's one of our lectures and it'll be amazing.
What have we got
he gave
next?
you a little shout out on the TV saying that you were coming around. We've got the guest this evening, so I'll ask you to find out.
Have we got Josh? Okay.
How are you, mate?
We'll talk a little bit about the response. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where Jewish community is so small. When I was in yesterday, I was like, actually, a lot of my Jewish friends are from Manchester.
And let's bring you that report now from Nick Johnson. And just to remind you again, it contains images that you may find distressing.
Could be lying and saying
Community is so small. So yeah, we talk about connection and what we've been saying to people here in the community. I understand you spoke to the Prime Minister yesterday as well. We're going to look at that. What you would see going forward. Is there anything else in particular that you want to get out of this interview in terms of...
so the guest is here, but he's currently with
some of the things that I wanted to call for additional
and we don't have
policing.
Josh Levy yet,
I want to speak about the protests and how I think that it's inappropriate.
You can see him.
How long on the report? Metropolis Police have written to organisers of Saturday's hostile action protest to ask them to stop, and they've said don't arrest us. So,
if I can just get a pronunciation check on
what kind of person you have to say that. And then, call for civil society to have a look at itself across all of the different components of
politicians, people need to be taking account of themselves.
But also, I'd quite like to reflect about
Thank you.
Thriving community and standing out
here. I see a lot of messages. We need to build on that to show that
we were just talking about the fact that the irony of it happening in this community
political reaction of the Israeli Foreign Minister has laid the blame squarely at British authorities, saying they failed to curb a wave of what he described as a toxic wave of anti-Semitism. Now, that sentiment has been echoed to some extent. They say there's been a heightened sense
15 seconds, I'll do it. So
fear
what am I reading
and
into?
concern for their safety. But
I doing an LVO?
They will step up patrols in the coming
Straight into Phil?
particular focus in and around Jewish places of worship. They say they'll do everything in their power to prevent
You're watching
this happening
Breakfast
again.
live from Crux in Greater Manchester this morning as we react to those terrible events at the local synagogue here. Police mobilising more officers to patrol this region in the wake of yesterday's terrorist attack. The two victims, the two men from this Jewish community here in Council have been identified. Phil Rosenberg is President of the Board of Deputies of British Jews and joins me here now. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us this morning.
Yes.
I know that you've travelled up to Manchester today and hearing the news. You wanted to come.
Yes, I can see it on the live page.
Jewish community here.
Yes, and first I wanted to send my condolences to those of all the community, Adrian Dorby and Melvin Crux and their families, and wish a speedy recovery to those still recovering in hospital after yesterday's awful attack.
What was your reaction? Because what we've been talking about in the last 24 hours here on the Sky News is members of the Jewish community saying to us, we've been fearing this day for the last 2 years as a community. We are constantly vigilant. But the last 2 years in particular, this has been a fear that sadly yesterday was realised.
This is the deadliest attack on the UK Jewish community since 1190. But over the last 2 years, absolutely, we felt this growing concern as we see this heated conversation, particularly about the Middle East situation, unaddressed too often in so many places. And we fear that this would be the result of it. You hear people shouting things like globalising the Intifada, and this is...
Have you got the picture? Is it ready?
People taking the decision to have violent acts against a peaceful community here in the country. And that's what we see today, with tragic and devastating consequences, particularly here in Manchester, for all of us.
I should just point out responsible reporting. There's no official word from the police as to the motive behind yesterday's attack, but what is very clear, it was an attack on British Jews. Let's be very clear about that. And the conversation, some of the language that has been used recently linked to what's going on in the Middle East. This rhetoric, this, as you said, this use of language that seems to have become acceptable in some parts of society.
Now we have just received a still of the attacker Jihad al-Shamie, a recent still, we're told, of the 35-year-old, which we can show you now, just to recap what we know about him. It's understood he entered the UK as a very young child and was granted British citizenship in 2006 as a minor. He's a British citizen of Syrian descent. You'll know from yesterday that he was shot by police 7 minutes after officers were alerted to the attack here at the Heaton Park Synagogue. Now his name, and this is significant, was not in any initial searches of police and security counter-terrorism records. So for example, his name wasn't on the radar of the PREVENT program, the anti-terrorism program, and he's not thought to have been under any current investigation. Now further checks, we understand, are underway to see if his name appears in records of any other investigations, but this is a recent image that we have of the attacker Jihad al-Shamie, beyond of course those images that we saw yesterday while the attack was underway and when police were called to the scene. Well, I'm joined now on the line by Rabbi Josh Levy. He is the co-leader of the Movement for Progressive Judaism. Thank you very much, Rabbi Levy, for joining us today. And I think it's important to point out, yesterday Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, a day for prayer, reflection, community, not a day for looking at phones and other devices. So it won't have been until much later yesterday, last night in fact, after people had broken their fast and went home perhaps, that many Jews here in the UK became aware of the news of what had happened here.
Those sort of protests happened just after terror.
Very much a case of people still processing what has happened, while the rest of the UK may have known this news many hours before. What are your thoughts this morning and the thoughts of people that you've been speaking to in the Jewish
when
community?
These tragedies happen and then don't think, well, this is a time to pull back, that's a real problem. No, we know that the Palestine Solidarity Campaign organised its first protest over the last few years on the 7th of October while the massacres on that day were still taking place. That's a real problem, and I think the organisers of these events have to ask themselves the question, what are they really in for? If they, I mean, you say insensitive, and that might be right, but I think, this shows, I think, a latent anti-Semitism and even a support for terror because they don't see it as their responsibility to pull back, and I urge those organisers to pull back. But to the government and police, I think we need to look at whether there are powers now or whether we need powers to make sure we can take account of these situations. If people aren't going to do the right thing of their own accord, it's really clear, as you said, the Home Secretary has called for these protests to not go ahead this weekend out of respect, then maybe the government and police need more powers, and that's one of the things we want to be looking at over the coming days.
More powers, stronger action. You actually spoke to the Prime Minister yesterday, and we heard his public statement talking about tackling this rising tide of anti-Semitism in the UK. He acknowledged that's happening, the statistics back it up, and he talked about extra security. What is it
you say they shouldn't have to stand there and protect synagogues and other Jewish institutions,
so we need to see visible
yet at the moment clearly that is what is happening. The security presence has been increased and the government is looking with Jewish leaders at what more it can do to protect. So for certainly the foreseeable future, it does look as though that security is going to have to be increased. What sort of conversations do you think the Jewish community ought to be having with the government right now about what kind of protection they want?
How do we disagree civilly? I think what we want to look at is how we tackle the problems across all of civil society, because whether it's in social media, in the media, in workplaces, in the NHS, problems, culture and sport, we need to find a way together to push back against anti-Semitism, which has so often gone unchecked. We launched a report to the Commission on Anti-Semitism in July. We're going to ask the government to deliver those recommendations in full.
And Phil, I know it was really important for you when I spoke just before you came on air to reflect the outpouring of solidarity we've had from the global Jewish community, but also, many other faiths and walks of life standing side by side with British Jews after what's happened. And for that, you have a degree of optimism and encouragement.
I do. We had Jewish leaders from over 15 countries reach out to us so far to express their solidarity. But also many, many friends of different faiths and beliefs have reached out to us. I know there are some friends here from one of the local mosques who are here in solidarity right now, and friends from across Muslim, Christian, humanist and other communities have reached out to us. And that's really important because too often of late we've spoken about this being a divided kingdom, but we are in the end a united kingdom, and we want to build that further in response to this event.
Well, listen, Phil, I really appreciate the time for me to talk to us today. I know you're going to spend the day in and amongst
Good evening to you, Annie. Well, yes, new details emerging on that. So authorities say 53-year-old Adrian.
So it's about education, it's about making those interfaith voices heard, but how difficult do you think it is for those voices that can't to make themselves heard above the sort of rhetoric that is very prevalent on social media and elsewhere in society right now?
With what happened now in terms of the broader political reaction to this, the Israeli Prime Minister has laid the blame squarely at the feet of British authorities, saying they failed to curb a toxic wave of anti-Semitism. And that's certainly been a sentiment echoed by some people who say there's been a heightened sense of fear and concern for their safety. But police here say they will step up patrols in the coming weeks with a particular focus in and around Jewish places of worship. They say they'll do everything in their power to prevent this from happening again.
We'll be hearing from Chair-elect of the West London Synagogue, Marie Van Zyl, in the wake of yesterday's deadly attack. Can you check the pronunciation of that, please, for Thomas?
Marie Van Zyl.
Thank you.
She was my predecessor.
Oh, just checking that one. Yeah, thank you. No, I've done it, it's fine.
I did.
Okay, Rabbi Josh Levy, co-leader of the Movement for Progressive Judaism, thank you very much for your time today. We will be back after this short break around the world and across the UK. This is BBC News.
you.